Betrayed and broke, how Jiufu's collapse left 340,000 lenders in despair. China's unemployment rate is estimated to exceed 50%. Wealthy Chinese flock to Singapore amid visa exemption and political unease. %80 of dams in China's massive reservoirs are overdue. Scandal rocks Greenland Group. Employees claim forced stock buys, demand justice. Betrayed and broke, how Jiufu's collapse left 340,000 lenders in despair. The plight of Jiufu's victims in the aftermath of its financial debacle has evolved into a poignant tale of betrayal, unfulfilled promises, and a relentless quest for justice. This financial turmoil began in August 2020, when Jiufu defaulted on repaying the principal and interest of its peer-to-peer (P2P) lending products, marking the onset of a financial collapse that affected approximately 340,000 lenders, with a total lending scale reaching 39 billion yuan. These were not conventional investment products, but rather P2P lending schemes where investors acted directly as lenders. By December of the same year, under the supervision of the Xi'an Finance Task Force in Beijing, Jiufu publicly announced its exit from the P2P business, promising full repayment of the initial principal to its lenders, a pledge that failed to materialize as promised. In the initial month following the announcement, Jiufu made a token repayment at a ratio of 1/36 of the due amounts, but in the ensuing 35 months, no further repayments were made, leaving lenders in a dire financial predicament. One case is Mr. Mai from Guangzhou, who, along with his family, had invested a total of 500,000 yuan in Jiufu products around 2014. Initially receiving regular repayments, they were abruptly halted in August 2020 with Jiufu's financial collapse. The company's subsequent pledge to return the lender's principal monthly over 3 years came to naught, as lenders received only a single month's repayment with no subsequent action. The ordeal of Jiufu's victims was further compounded by retaliation against rights defenders, with some being arrested and detained by police under accusations of picking quarrels and provoking trouble. Such actions created an atmosphere of intimidation, significantly muting the efforts for rights protection. As Jiufu's promise neared its 3-year deadline on December 8, 2023, without any subsequent repayment or explanations, distressed lenders once again rallied to Beijing, seeking recourse from Jiufu's company, the Xi'an Finance Task Force, and the Beijing Petition Department. During these attempts, lenders faced warnings from local police not to proceed to Beijing, and at the entrance and exit of the Beijing Petition Department, individuals were specifically assigned to intercept Jiufu's lenders, further showcasing the challenges faced by victims in their pursuit of justice. The victims' letter to Hong Kong's financial authorities encapsulates their grievances, highlighting Jiufu's failure to honor its repayment promise over 3 years, thus affecting 340,000 people with no single penny repaid. They passionately appeal to Hong Kong compatriots not to provide refuge to those they deem responsible for defrauding countless individuals, urging the territory to uphold justice for the mainland victims. China's unemployment rate is estimated to exceed 50%. China is experiencing an economic recession, with factories and stores closing down across various regions, leading to widespread unemployment. It is estimated by some members of the public that the unemployment rate has exceeded 50%, with many people remaining idle at home for long periods. Some citizens have expressed that merely surviving is considered fortunate under these circumstances. A resident of Anhui, Zhang pseudonym, told NTD TV on January 24 that after losing his job in Beijing, He worked as a ride-hailing driver for a while last year. Due to a lack of work, he found himself unemployed again. He mentioned that many who migrated to Beijing for work resorted to ride-hailing or food delivery after losing their jobs. However, with fewer people going out and ordering delivery, many without work have returned to their hometowns. Jean Lenz stated, "Many places have closed down, and there are no jobs. Like myself, I'm unemployed, and many people are unemployed with nothing to do. The economic situation is definitely not good, and many have defaulted on their payments. A lot of people can't survive anymore. Now there are significantly fewer people around. It used to be severely congested, and it was impossible to get on buses or the subway because of the crowds. Now, there are fewer people, with many dying or having left, not wanting to stay here anymore." 2 residents from Shanxi, who previously worked away from their hometown, have also remained idle at home long-term due to being unable to find employment. Ms. Gua from Shanxi said, "Jobs are hard to find. Many people and business owners have gone back to their hometowns. Then, I've been having chest pains and got sick, so I've been out of work and have had to borrow money from others." Mr. Li, a farmer from Shanxi, mentioned, "One person doesn't even have 1 mu, about 0.16 acre, of land, which is enough for food but definitely not enough to earn money. I haven't had a job, and I've been resting for more than 2 years because I can't find work." Mr. Yang, a resident of Jiangsu, reported that many electronic factories in the area, mostly small ones, have closed down over the last year. Restaurants and shops have been affected, leading to widespread unemployment. Many factories around us have shut down. After November, there's basically no one around, with about 60 to 70% of people being unemployed. They have to find ways to make a living, like setting up street stalls, but the cost of goods keeps rising. What people would usually spend 10 yuan on, now costs half as much or even less. Several citizens from Guangzhou also stated that many local factories have closed down, including many retail stores and supermarkets. Most shops inside big malls and streetside have withdrawn their leases, with more people setting up street stalls to make small trades, although they face strict enforcement from city management. One citizen estimated the unemployment rate to be over 50%. Mr. Li from Guangzhou said, "Everything has shut down, there's nowhere to find odd jobs. Among 100 people, about 55 are likely unemployed. You can see many rental signs on the streets. Now, don't even think about doing business, being alive is good enough. You reap what you sow." Wealthy Chinese flock to Singapore amid visa exemption and political unease. On January 25, China and Singapore announced a mutual visa exemption agreement that will officially take effect on February 9, Chinese New Year's Eve. Following the announcement, online travel platforms saw a surge in bookings from Chinese tourists heading to Singapore, with an increase of 30 times and continuing to grow. According to the visa exemption agreement between China and Singapore, citizens holding ordinary passports from both countries can enter each other's territories without a visa for purposes such as tourism, family visits, and business, with a stay of no more than 30 days. However, the agreement stipulates that activities requiring prior approval, such as working in journalism, along with plans to stay for more than 30 days, require a visa before entry. The news of the visa exemption has ignited enthusiasm among Chinese citizens, leading to a rapid increase in the search popularity of Singapore on major online travel platforms. Data from Feizhu indicates that 1 hour after the exemption news was released, searches for flights to Singapore grew by more than 15 times, and searches for hotels increased by more than 6 times. Due to the visa exemption policy becoming effective on Chinese New Year's Eve, the search interest for trips to Singapore during the New Year holidays surged by more than 20 times. As of January 25 at 1600 hours, Bookings for trips to Singapore during the New Year holiday exploded by more than 30 times compared to the previous year and are still on the rise. Shanghai, Beijing, Hangzhou, Guangzhou, Chengdu, Shenzhen, Nanjing, Hong Kong, Wuhan, and Xiamen are popular departure cities for travels to Singapore. Data from the online travel platform Trip shows that 10 minutes after the exemption news was released, the popularity of Singapore-related travel products increased by more than 30%. Tongcheng Travel reported that within half an hour of the announcement, searches related to Singapore rose by 340%, and searches for return flights to Singapore during the New Year holiday increased by more than 5 times. The online travel platform Qunar revealed that searches for hotels in Singapore quadrupled, and searches for flights tripled, with continued growth. Singapore ranks as the 5th most popular destination for Chinese residents during the New Year. The online platform Afengwo saw a sudden increase of 350% in interest for Singapore, with Singapore-Malaysia independent travel also rising by 146%. On the Tuniu platform, bookings for 5-day Singapore-Malaysia trips and 5 to 7-day independent trips to Singapore during the New Year period ranked high on the list of popular outbound travel products. Currently, Southeast Asian countries Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand have successively implemented visa exemptions for Chinese tourists, making travels to these 3 countries more convenient for Chinese citizens in the future. Observers believe that beyond boosting the tourism market, the visa exemption policy provides more opportunities for Chinese citizens to leave China. 80% of dams in China's massive reservoirs are overdue. China is the country with the highest number of dams in the world. However, the Chinese Communist Party authorities have admitted that over 80% of the dams have exceeded their service life, leading to continuous dam failures. This has raised concerns. On December 28, the Ministry of Water Resources of the People's Republic of China held a press conference on the management of dam safety in 2023. The Deputy Minister, Lu Weiping, publicly acknowledged that China currently has 98,000 dams, but the problem of aging dams is significant, with over 80% built between the 1950s and the 1970s, resulting in numerous dangerous dams. Wang Weiluo, a hydrologist living in Germany, said, "China's dams are facing a host of problems, that is to say, our dams have already exceeded their service life, and we are at risk." A research report published in 2023 by the Journal of Water Resources and Hydropower Engineering, an official publication supervised by the Ministry of Water Resources, highlighted that from 1954 to 2021, there were records of 3,558 dam failures, averaging 52.3 dam failures per year. This failure rate is much higher than international standards, and the real situation is reportedly even worse. In recent years, the proportion of dam failures resulting in severe casualties has been on the rise. Wang Weiluo commented, "Are we going to demolish them or continue to spend a lot of money? For the sake of the party's image, they are spending vast amounts of money, investing trillions of renminbi in so-called maintenance and repairs of dams, while completely ignoring the safety issues and property loss problems these dams pose to the public when they discharge floods." Experts point out that after the Chinese Communist Party usurped power, it obliterated traditional values with the ambition of conquering nature, recklessly constructing dams. Many natural disasters have been man-made disasters caused by the CCP. For instance, the 1975 Banqiao Reservoir Dam failure in Henan, where the simultaneous collapse of over 60 dams, including 2 medium-sized reservoirs, Banqiao and Xi'an, resulted in at least 240,000 deaths. The potential consequences of a Three Gorges Dam failure are unimaginable. Wang Weiluo stated, "Many of China's floods and earthquake disasters are not merely natural disasters, human-made disasters play a bigger part." Under CCP rule, man-made disasters in China always surpass natural disasters. Scandal rocks Greenland Group, employees claim forced stock buys, demand justice. Shanghai Greenland Group Company, Limited, known as Greenland Group, once celebrated as the 55th top enterprise in China, has recently been embroiled in controversy. On January 25, a collective allegation surfaced from 24 of its employees, accusing this state-owned conglomerate of coercing them into buying company stocks. This claim has not only sparked significant public interest but also raised questions about the practices within one of China's prominent corporations. The employees, who are or were part of Greenland Group's Central China division, directed their grievances towards the company and its leadership, particularly its party committee helmed by Chairman Zhang Yuliang. Their report, shared on Chinese social media platforms, accuses the company of engaging in what they perceive as illegal fundraising by mandating employee participation in stock purchases. The letter details what the signatories describe as 3 major sins committed by Greenland: forcing employees to partake in fundraising efforts and offering loans for buying company shares against regulations, indicating potential illicit fundraising activities; employing authoritative power to intimidate employees, thereby willfully undermining their interests; conducting operations clandestinely, significantly infringing upon employees' right to be informed. These allegations come in the wake of a significant policy implemented by Greenland Group in July 2019. Through an official notice, the corporation introduced the Greenland Group Cadre Employee Wealth Plan, obliging its managerial staff to purchase a set minimum of shares through the company's employee stock ownership platform. The directive demanded that by the end of 2019, senior and mid-level managers purchase at least 1 million shares, with third-tier managers required to buy no fewer than 300,000 shares, using either personal funds or loans provided by the group. According to the employees' claim, refusal to meet these stockholding requirements was met with threats of dismissal. The disillusionment among certain staff members arose from their confrontation with high-level pressure to conform to these demands, culminating in forced compliance. The 24 individuals who filed the report, themselves third-tier managerial employees, were purportedly coerced into buying shares worth a combined total of 9.4829 million yuan, most of which was financed through company loans. They argue that while the company initiated a large-scale layoff by the third quarter of 2021, it simultaneously manipulated the share transaction prices to the employees' detriment. They recount their failed efforts to seek redress and recover their investments post-resignation, highlighting the adverse financial impact of the company's policies on their personal finances. The collective report further accuses the Greenland Group of offering loans under the guise of the Greenland Partnership, thus pushing employees to engage further in the company's mixed ownership reform, exacerbating their financial vulnerabilities. The grievance concludes on a despondent note, with the reporters fundamentally questioning whether the company aims to push them to desperation. In response to these allegations, Greenland Group has asserted its commitment to addressing the concerns of its former employees with the promise of open communication and a comprehensive resolution strategy.